All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the October 11th Board of County Commissioners. Well, please rise for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first thing we have on our agenda are our minutes. Gentlemen, any additions, corrections?
I have none.
Okay.
All right, I move we accept the proceedings of the Board of County Commissioners of Montezuma County for October 4th, 2022.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the proceedings of the Board of Commissioners, Montezuma County, October 4th, 2022. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, and next we have planning. Come on down, guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
And the first thing we have on our agenda is a public hearing. So Kim, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Candelaria.
Here.
Commissioner Lindsay.
Here.
Commissioner Copenhaver.
Here.
Administrator Anderson.
Here.
Attorney McLaren.
Here.
Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for a review and determination regarding a proposed subdivision amendment in AR 3-9 rezoning application to lot number 2 of the Hover Family Tracts, 3-lot moderate subdivision submitted by Glen and Ruth Hover on property located at 29621 Road M, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 12.44 acres more or less, located east of Road 29, north of Road M, situated in Section 9, Township 36 North, Range 15 West, N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, October 11, 2022 at 9 a.m. in the Commissioners' Hearing Room, Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Courthouse, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the Planning Office online services at https://co-montezuma-co.smartgovcommunity.com public home. You may also contact the Planning Department at 970-565-2801 with questions. Dated the 14th day of September 2022, Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado. Published in the Journal on Wednesday, September 28th, 2022.
Okay, thank you, Kim. All right, Don, do you have the owners?
Yep, the Hovers are here.
All right. Can give us an overview?
So the existing Hover subdivision is 3 lots, and they are proposing to amend the subdivision and split their lot in half. 8 acres on the north, 4 acres on the south. There's a residence that would be on each parcel. All utilities are in place for each residence. It's currently families living in both residences. Planning and zoning was unanimous to recommend it for approval. They did have some conditions though. An easement, access easement through the 4-acre parcel on the south to get to the 8-acre parcel, which is noted on the plat. And then also if either of these 2 lots, if approved, if they're to be sold, then the meter that's on the south property would have to be moved to the north and installed on the 8-acre parcel, and they would also have to obtain another water tap because currently both residences are running off of one water tap. Both meters are located on the south address.
So would it be possible to move the meters now, just so
Yeah,
it's
that
clean
that
and
was gonna
easy?
be
I
my
mean, my
question.
my only concern would be in terms of tracking this as we move forward. You know, I mean, you could put those conditions on the plat, I suppose, but certainly it seems like the most clean way and the way that would be most in conformance with the land use code would be to just make the utilities available up front.
And
Right.
that's typically what we do anyway. Each lot has to stand alone. So if it's not, then they're not independent of each other. They're tied together still. So there's one water tap and then you said a meter?
2 meters. The meter's just not located on the residence.
Okay.
So Empire Electric then?
And
So,
Empire's aware of it.
yeah, to me, I would agree with the attorney. It seems cleaner because in that way if one property sells, which they always will, eventually, then we're gonna be chasing this down the road. So their conditions, that's what the planning and zoning just said, that as a condition?
Correct.
Now, are we talking water meters or electric meters?
Both.
Both, okay.
1 water meter, 2 electric meters.
Okay.
But both meters are on the south residence,
Okay,
or
So
on a
it's
pedestal
gonna-
there.
It would basically require a new meter to the second house or to the 8-acre house? Is that correct?
Meter there.
Or underground.
They're just both on the same, telephone pole.
Okay.
One of them's on one side of the pole, one of them's on the other, but meters to both residences are on the same pole.
Because the wiring runs underground from the,
yeah, that's not uncommon.
No.
So they're separated then?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're separate.
yeah,
Not located on the property proposed. But
But the
of those in the county.
yeah.
yeah, that, as far as electric goes, that's not an issue.
That's not
I don't
uncommon
think.
as long as
What
it-
about the water, though? You said that's just one?
The
we
water's
have
one and that,
It's
that's a
considered
problem.
Tap and a half or tap and 3/4. It's, designed to run up to 3 residences. The water tap we have.
Correct. As long as it's within your family, I understand that, but this is now gonna be split. The proposal is to split the property into 2, and your family is living there right now, but if that ever sells in the future, it's neater to clean it up right now than to than to go down the road. Does that make sense?
what if the tap was in both new owners of each property?
Well, you'd have to have 2 taps. That's what we're saying. Is it would require 2 taps, because in that way, it's individualized. You have your own water and your own sewer and your own electric tap per lot, which is what we do with all of our subdivisions. Each one has to have, it's gotta be individualized. Which is what the planning and zoning recommended.
Right, and the condition was the easement for the electric line from that common pole.
So is the easement, I'm assuming somewhere in the roadway for the power and water?
In the roadway, I'm not understanding.
So the
Yeah, it's
driveway?
clear down at the end.
The power is, the water is sitting right outside our property line, the water tap.
So,
It's on the-
Where does the electric line from the pole to the north house run?
Runs on the east side of the driveway up and then crosses over.
can you point at it and show us, because, so our question is, your easement is basically gonna be along the roadway.
Right.
But where does your power run and where does your water run? Does it run from here over?
Runs on the west, just on the east side of the driveway.
The electric is on here, and it runs right upside the driveway, all the way up here, and then crosses across this way. The water line runs also on this side. To the back, to this one, it is hooked right here and runs into their property. And then water and electric and phone is all on the east side of the driveway.
So within the easement, how large is the easement, Don?
That's a 40-foot wide easement.
Okay. I guess that's my concern, is that if we don't separate it and split it now, that it's just gonna be an issue down the road that's gonna be tougher to deal with. So if the meters are already separated for each residence, that's kind of, it's already done.
Correct.
And that lies within the easement that's gonna be on the plat for the roadway or driveway,
Correct.
okay? So the water is the only issue then,
Right.
because there's not two separate taps.
So it's probably an inch or inch and a quarter tap that would have to be converted to 2 3/4 inch, which would save them some money, I would hope, but they would have to split that line.
Yeah, possibly could, but that's Montezuma Water Company,
Yeah, I don't know
that's not really,
what and how they operate.
okay. Would you like to offer anything else prior to me opening this up for a public comment?
More or less, we just need to buy another tap.
No, I'm not saying buy another tap, because that's Montezuma Water Company. I don't know, if you have that you're paying for a tap and a half, I can't speak for what they'll charge you, but it needs to be separated so that each lot has its own water, its own power. Obviously, they'll be individualized for septic, for sanitation. That way, down the road, if somebody ever sells it, there's not an issue of, well, wait a minute, you have my power meter and you share my water line, and it just turns into a mess. Because hopefully, there's enough in your agreement on your easement that people know how you're going to pay for maintenance of that road too. Because otherwise, it becomes an issue. You know, you get along with your family right now, but what if your family has to sell that piece of property and you don't like who
Right.
that person is?
I see.
And the road goes to total disarray, and yet you're living on the back side of it. So that guy says, well, I only used 200 feet of it, I'm not touching it. I mean, those agreements all really should be in place to stand alone. And that's typically what we do with our subdivisions, so that each person is responsible for their own driveway, their own water line, their own power line, their own sanitation. That makes sense? So I don't know if they would charge you for another tap. I can't speak to that, but it would make it neat and clean then to be individualized, and then that way you guys never have a problem down the road at all.
Okay. I see what you're saying, yeah. So we just need to fix the water tap, more or less. The electric's okay, because it's two separate.
If it's got,
Electric
yeah, if it's
should be
got
okay.
two separate meters,
It does.
as long as that power line is in that easement where they can get to it to access it, yeah, then there are two different meters for each
Right.
resident. That's all we're asking, the same thing with the water, so that it's separate. So right now, let me give you a for instance, the person on the lower house, what if something happens to that water line and it has a leak in it. And now it has to be repaired, right?
Right.
Well, who's gonna bear the cost? Is it gonna be you in the back? Is it gonna be you in the front? Is it gonna be split? Who does that? And it becomes a huge argument and a huge fight. It's just better to individualize it, separate it, and then if you have a problem with your water line, you're responsible for it. If he has a problem with his water line, he's responsible for it. But the way it exists right now, it just becomes we continually have people coming in here arguing over it, and they're like, well, you guys approved it.
Okay.
Well,
So
so
all
that's
this has
what
to
we're
be
saying.
done prior to us getting it deeded over?
For me, I would like to see it done prior to that, and it's not a big issue to get it done. And here again, I don't know.
Right.
I can't speak for Montezuma Water because we don't know what their day-to-day, routines are.
Okay.
Want to continue it till, for 2 weeks?
Yeah, let's, will that give you enough time if we continue this for a couple weeks to get with Montezuma Water Company and then have a
Yeah.
better idea of what they're gonna do and how long it's gonna take them?
Yes.
Okay, well then I won't even open this up for public comment, we'll just continue this. Do you have a calendar in front of you?
I will in a minute. Yep.
You know what, let's give them 3 weeks. Yeah, just in case something happens. So we'll just continue this to November 1st. And then we don't have to put conditions on this at all, and on the plat, it's just neat, it's clean, it's done. All right? Okay, so, go ahead.
I move we continue this till November 1st, which time we will conduct, if we can, a public hearing,
At 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to continue this public hearing in regards to the application of a two-lot subdivision amendment for the Hover Family, continue to November 1st at 9 o'clock. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you, folks.
Oh, we're way past 9:10. I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another public hearing. Do you have owners here, Don? You have your owners here?
I guess clarification on continuing the last public hearing without taking public comment. Does that have to be republished?
I don't.
No,
Renoticed?
we have a date certain that's been continued, and so the public hearing will take place on that date.
Very good, thank
And
you.
I'll open it up at that point in time.
Perfect.
Okay. So being it past 9:10 a.m., we do have another public hearing. Kim, I will open this up, and would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Candelaria.
Here.
Commissioner Lindsey.
Here.
Commissioner Copenhaver.
Here.
Administrator Anderson.
Here.
Attorney McLaren.
Here.
Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for review and determination regarding a proposed two-lot minor subdivision and rezoning application submitted by Keith and April Gray on property located at 18255 Road DD, Pleasant View, Colorado, consisting of 40 acres more or less located east of Road 18, north of Road DD, situated in Section 27, Township 39 North, Range 17 West, in N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, October 11th, 2022 at 9:10 a.m. in the Commissioners' Hearing Room, Montezuma County Administrative Offices at 109 West Main, Courthouse, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the Planning Office online services at https://co-montezuma-co.smartgovcommunity.com, public home. You may also contact the Planning Department at 970-565-2801 with questions. dated this 14th day of September 2022, Kim Purcell Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado, published in the Journal on Wednesday, September 28th, 2022.
All right, thank you, Kim. Okay, Don,
Mr. Gray is here, one of the applicants.
give us an overview on this one.
So this is a 40-acre parcel that if you look at our current GIS map, the bank had them add 10 acres out of the middle of it as collateral way back when. That was never done, was never a legal split, was just a mark on the map, and the deeds were written, so our GIS maps followed those deeds. But because it was never a legal split or anything done with legal descriptions, we're starting with the regular 40-acre parcel. And now they would like to split that into a 12 and 28 acre piece. So it will be a 2-lot minor. There's a residence on the west, and then there's a residence on the east parcel. There's also a mobile there at the southwest corner that, well, during the P&Z conversation, that's supposed to be removed. One of the conditions from P&Z at that mobile is where the electric meters are located. Again, it's 1 pole, 2 meters going to 2 different residences. So they'll either have to do the power line easement to the house there on the west, or physically move that meter up to a pedestal at the house.
So this is the same situation that we just had,
Right.
basically.
Yeah, there's.
So the driveway for the mobile home, if I'm seeing this correctly, actually comes across the other property? Is that, am I seeing that right, or?
It used to be that way, but I put a driveway directly from the road, right to it. But the mobile home's coming out anyways. For one reason is, I didn't realize it, but the line is too close to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the shed, if you can see that building on the other side of that line,
Yep.
that is also coming out.
Okay. How long will it take you to get those out?
I'm not absolutely sure. I'm looking into it right now. I have to find out how I'm going to get the shed moved. It's kind of big. It was moved there, so it's possible to move it, but my sister wants to buy it, so hopefully she's going to move it. So it might be a few weeks to a month. I mean, if I have to, I'll just tear it down. But
Well, I'm not, I mean,
Yeah.
we're not asking you to tear it down, we're just saying, this almost sounds like we could continue this also for a month, to that way it's compliant, that's moved, and we're not having to put conditions, just as the previous hearing.
yeah,
That way it's neat, it's clean, the driveways are independent, obviously the water taps are independent, and the power lines are independent, so, gentlemen, your thoughts?
I would agree. Gerald?
Yeah, it'd be better if it was done before we do this, because getting people to comply afterward is a problem.
It's a real
problem.
challenge for us, so let's give you 30 days, is that
okay.
is that adequate?
I believe so. I mean, I guess I can let you guys know if it's not.
If it's not, you
Um,
can just get a hold of planning and let them know, and then we can
Okay.
reschedule it for another date. But right
Mhm.
now, we'll give you 30 days.
So November 15th, because we won't be holding a BOCC meeting on the 8th, that's an election day.
Okay, so, November 15th,
Okay.
and that'll give you time to get the shed moved,
Mhm.
work with your sister, and then to get the mobile home and everything there moved and discontinued also,
Okay.
all right? And then that way, everything, again, just like we explained to the prior personnel ahead of you, that way it's all done, it's done up front, and we have no
Yeah.
issues and no contingencies that you have to deal with later on,
Right.
Okay.
okay?
Okay. One question on that meter on the pole. I do need to get that moved to the house, is that right? Or do I need to?
If you,
Can we
if you
do it
have,
right away?
if you have an easement from that pole over onto your property, you don't have to move it.
Oh, okay.
As long as there's an easement on your
Okay.
plat
From the pole to the property line.
to the property
Oh,
line.
okay.
Yeah,
It's accessible without
Mhm.
trespassing on each person.
Yeah, okay.
so,
I think we can do that. It's not really very far.
Okay.
So if that'll work, we'll do that.
you'll just have to need to know exactly where that line is that cuts the two properties, so, you may wanna make sure you have that surveyed so that it's proper, so that you're not encroaching on the other lot.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Okay?
we just had it surveyed, so they do have it marked
Oh, perfect,
where it is.
Yeah.
perfect. So we'll
Okay.
continue this until November 15th, and then we can bring it forth. If that doesn't give you enough time, just let planning know, and then we can move it down the road to whatever seems most reasonable for you.
Okay.
Okay?
That
Well, and I
time,
think ultimately, if we do move it, my suggestion would be to come in on the 15th and then
We will.
actually open it up and move it at that point.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. All right.
So move we continue this public hearing until, for Keith and April Gray, to November 15th.
at 9:40 AM,
Works for me.
Second.
40.
40.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to continue this public hearing for Keith and April Gray, to November 15th at 9:40 a.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Post my sign again,
Yeah, if you've got it, I'll take it. You don't need to repost it. Thank you.
Thanks.
So we can skip item 1 on the agenda and go to item 2. It is the exemption resolution 4-2022 for Montezuma County government to the town of Mancus per their intergovernmental contract from the 90s. As the gravel pit is completed, or sections of it are completed, and mitigation taken care of per the Department of Mines, that property is to be transferred from Montezuma County back to the town of Mancus. And so this exemption would create the 16.96 acres from that parcel to the town of Mancus. Along with that is to have it, actually both parcels zoned as heavy industrial. They're both currently just zoned historic, I believe. So they were never changed or zoned when the land use code was adopted.
And then that complies with the remaining industrial part of theirs, which is better for.
That will let them tie that piece in. Well, it'll stand alone until,
Till
or
they
if and when
combine.
they want to do a legal description to tie all their property together. But it'll also give the county the appropriate zoning to continue the gravel pit mining operation.
Okay. All right. So this is just first, do you want to say anything else, Ian, or do you need any?
No, I don't think there's anything further. I think that the resolution lays it out, and I don't see the resolution on our screen. That's the,
This is resolution number 4, 2022.
do we have the written resolution? Okay.
We have the resolution and the quitclaim deed.
Yep.
Commissioner Deeds gets to function.
Where's that?
We'll give this to Gerald.
Yeah.
He's the Commissioner of Deeds.
He is the commissioner of deeds.
So in essence,
I think you guys are passing the buck.
the exemption resolution just
Nobody-
allows this split to happen outside the subdivision regulations, because it is the intergovernmental transfer. It's not something that was meant to be governed by the subdivision regulations. This was a contract that was pre-existing. Along with that, we do have a quitclaim deed just to deed that property over to Mancus. Talked to the assessor's office, and they said that would be the cleanest way to get this done. And so we would need a motion for the resolution 4-2022, and then also a motion to sign the quitclaim deed.
Okay.
I move we sign exemption number 4 exemption resolution number 4-2022 for the county gravel pit to the town of Mancus, and also the quitclaim deed therein.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to sign the exemption resolution number 4, 2022 for the county gravel pit back to the town of Mancus, along with the quitclaim deed proposed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do you have the Mylar?
We have 2 Mylars and 2 paper copies to be signed, reflecting this exemption.
Perfect.
1 Mylar will be recorded, the other Mylar will go to the town of Mancus. The 2 paper copies, I'm not sure, but we'll figure out where
Keep
we
for
need
the
to distribute
records.
those, if it's one to Road and Bridge. Rob will have to get a copy of the recorded plat and send that back to the Department of Mines to close out their section of that part of the operation.
I want to show him where to sign.
Okay.
Do you want me to sign it or James to sign it? Commissioner Kimberly. That's a quitclaim deed.
Okay. Very good. We'll hit item number 3, and then we'll come down and sign your Mylars.
All right, item number 3 is an application from Montezuma County to vacate a section of Road Y. That was published in the newspaper. It'll actually be published twice for a public hearing reflecting that vacation. I believe the date for that is set for November 15th. At 9 a.m.
And so, commissioners, this application to vacate the road, generally speaking, this is something that we would require private citizens to file. This isn't something that necessarily needs to be done by statute, but just to keep it consistent with our processes, we thought it would make the most sense to go ahead and get this application from you guys, and then we'll move forward with that public hearing in November.
Okay.
Does this require a motion, or do they just
Does
need
it-
it?
I- Since it's an official decision of the board, I think that we should go ahead and make a motion. Let's just make a motion to submit this application, then Commissioner Candelaria can sign it.
Thank you.
I move that we proceed with the hearing to vacate, how are we gonna describe this?
I got it, I'll just call it along Road Y.
The end of Road Y, basically in the Canyon of Ancients National Monument.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to sign the application for a variance of a section of Road Y located along the eastern boundary of Government Lot 13, situated in Section 31, Township 38 North, Range 18 West, N.M.P.M. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And it's actually a vacation of Road Y, not a variance.
A
Just-
vacation.
Yeah, just to correct the record. And that vacation, that legal description will be published in the notice that's been distributed in the paper. Will go out to the other landowners, and so
Sorry, I thought I said vacation.
it did.
Okay. All right, got it. Yeah. So that's,
You wanna look at it, Ian?
I looked at this, it was prepared by you.
Yeah, this is the.
Do you need to sign it also, Ian?
No, I don't. This is just, this is.
Okay,
All right, we just need signatures.
roll them out.
I did.
won't cut you short this time.
That's all we got?
Okay,
All right, good enough?
thank you all.
Appreciate
Yep,
it.
Appreciate it. Okay, moving on. Next, we have our public comment session. Board of Montezuma County Commissioners welcomes you to this meeting. Person speaking during public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, or depending on the number of people wishing to speak, it may be reduced to allow all members of the public the opportunity to address the board. When addressing the board, please state your name and address for the record prior to providing your comments, and comments to individual supervisors or staff are not permitted, and participants may not yield their time to others. And with that, our public comment session is open. Okay, seeing no public comment, we will close the public comment session of this meeting, and we will move right straight down to county operations, and we have Shane Hickman in the back with our vehicle maintenance.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't really have a lot. Just gonna say we did get the maintenance pickup brought in. It's working. You'll see it back here in the back lot for an hour or so more. But Dustin's driving it now. So the one we purchased last month is on the road.
It's working or it's just sitting?
At this exact moment, it's just sitting. We'll be getting that other pickup from the maintenance and getting it to the landfill here within this month. The emergency manager and the coroner's pickups got canceled. We had them ordered. So now we're gonna go for the coroner. We'll go into, just lots to try to find a vehicle that matches
Well,
that.
Let me ask you a question. Those were Fords also?
Yes.
Can't we get the Dodges? It seems like we're having a pretty good,
We're working on that. We had the Fords ordered and they only got canceled last week. So now we're in the process of same pickup, just getting it, sourced through Enterprise, cause that one was a lease. So
right, they're all
through
leased.
Enterprise will
But
be.
can't we, I mean, it doesn't have to be the Ford.
No,
We
they're
can
they're
use the
looking for
Dodge, we
every
can
make,
use-
model, everything.
Okay,
So, and the emergency manager pickup, there's a little bit of room in our budget this year. We may end up just buying that one outright, cause he's not putting nearly as many miles on it as he was, cause now he lives a lot closer. So,
let's see what we can do to get those two on that lease. And just, because we have been successful with the Dodges now, from the 2 detective vehicles to what we have now for maintenance. It just seems like Ford is the one that's struggling the most, and we only have 10 VINs, you said last time you were in here, for the
yeah,
10,
we have the 10, patrol units that are coming in.
which is still
that's-
significantly short of what we ordered.
Yeah, we ordered.
So I think it's just the Fords are what we're having trouble with, so.
It's still across the board on the vehicles with incentives. So that's where we're fighting the battle is, when you order those, you get the government incentive.
Right.
But when you don't, just have to buy them off the lot, you have to buy them at normal price, which is just basically what we're having to do now to get our vehicles updated. So, but we already reordered for patrol units for next year, so hopefully have better luck next year, but I'm still got my fingers crossed. We have the 10 coming, so they should hit the ground and go from there.
By the end of the year still.
It just depends on how we keep, every month we keep pushing further into the year, and they still have to be upfit once they get in,
Right.
so
Correct,
it'd
okay.
be great by January, but we shall see. As soon as they hit the ground, we start paying the lease on it, so, then the quickest upfit we can do, which should all be arranged and ready to go. So, it's right next to the dealership that they're supposed to be landing at.
Great.
We sent off 3 Tahoes to be sold through Enterprise. We're gonna see how that system works now. that'll be a trial, so, see how.
So
all
we've
that-
already sent off 3?
We sent off 3, yeah.
Okay, good. So where do we stand with, are we 100% on the 4 fleet vehicles that we have as far as pool vehicles?
Are we at 100%?
Are we able, everybody able to schedule those?
Yeah, we
And
are, we're
I don't-
scheduling them. The last little thing I have to do is I gotta get the fuel cards in them. The fuel cards came in on Thursday. But other than that, they're all scheduled. I mean, you look at the calendar online and people are definitely scheduling them.
So where is that calendar? Because I'll be the
We'll
first one to,
get, Glenn,
I'll send you the,
yeah.
I'll send it to you so you know where it is.
Glenn put some instructions together that he can just
Okay.
email you on how to.
because I haven't seen it. My bad if it's been out there. I might have missed it. Because we obviously have to schedule vehicles.
Yep, yeah, no, when you go in to schedule it, you can go and see what availability it has, so. But it seems like this next week or two, they're scheduled. They were scheduled pretty hard. It
Good.
looks like there's a few people going out of town, so the landfill went out of town and, someone from the health department went out of town and that's what they took, so. But it seems to be working okay. I just need to get the fuel cards in there to them and, the calendar is starting to work like it's supposed to, and so should be good there. Last step is to get it to where we don't have to come up and check out a key and cause grief through departments. And that's kind of we're getting there. We're looking at different key box options and, things so we can basically be hands-free as possible.
Okay, very good. And then they're still gonna be stored here, there.
Yep, 2 at the assessor's office, 2 at the assessor's parking lot, and 2 here. There'll be an Impala and the Equinox here, and the Suburban and a Chevy Bolt over at the, assessor's office.
Okay. All right, very good.
That's it. That's all I got.
Are you full with your personnel? Weren't you short?
Yeah, we've had, Ben Schaefer here for about a month.
Okay, good.
We're, full as of now, right now. Could change any time, but we're full right now.
All right. Well, very good. Thank you.
Alrighty,
Thank
thanks.
you, Shane.
Dustin, which display do you want up first, the Excel or the PDF?
Yeah, we can do the Excel. Okay, so, at the detention center, the freezer, the compressor is done for. And the cooler, the evaporator's been leaking for the last, I don't know, probably about a month. We've been having trouble with it, or 2 months. So everything is 22 years old over there. And I tried to get as many quotes as I could. CBW and subcooled, that's a complete package. They'll install it, the crane comes, all that. Comfort Air said there was no techs available or time to do it. The maintenance mafia, he never got me a bid back. And then this Grady's Food Service, it's equipment only, no line set and no installation. Subcooled said he would not install somebody else's equipment, and CBW said he would, but his rate would change. So depending on what you want to do, we can go from there. If you want to explore that option of buying the equipment and see if we can get somebody to install it, we can try and do that.
I think that's kind of a waste of our time. I
Okay.
think we choose one and go from there. My only question is, since now we're into above $30,000, is everything compliant with the procurement policy? Did you actually send this out, or were these just?
No, I just called everybody and told them what I was needing. And
Okay,
they sized it based on the size. From what Shaq was in Phaedra's office when I talked about it, and he said under 50, we could just get 3 bids.
Okay, well, we'll have to check that
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah, and is this already a budgeted item? Was this budgeted or is
No,
it
it was
supplemental?
not.
grant?
No, it's not. This is not a budgeted item at all. That's what I'm saying. I think we absolutely have to follow that policy.
Okay.
And you don't have 3 bids.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We might have to put it out farther. You may have to go, and I'm not saying it's gonna be any better. I'm just saying that we have to follow our own policy.
All right.
So you probably wanna get with Travis, when we get done here to make sure we follow that policy. And if we don't get 3 bids, you need to send it out to Durango, Farmington, whoever else you
Okay.
need. And then we'll make sure we follow that, cause this is not a budgeted item. So the next question is, where are we gonna get it from?
All right.
So you'll have to work with Travis on that, so we can find out where we can get another $34,000.
Yeah.
Which obviously we have to have it.
They're using the freezer at the fairgrounds currently. So,
Right. The
It's-
sheriff,
yeah.
yeah. And they're not giving away any other food now, right?
I hope not. And then, other than that, we installed a split system for the MoCo transportation. We changed filters at the combined courts. We have the wall framed at Annex 3 for that assessor's office in the basement, ready for electrical. And then I've got the water shut off. We're gonna get everything blown out and get ready for winter, for all the grass.
Okay.
Any other questions or concerns?
Are you working with, it was brought to our attention again last week, but have you worked with James Dietrich at all on the combined courts as far as the landscaping out there? Because that was brought to us last week, of basically, what are we gonna do there?
No, I don't know.
We told her just to spray, or not to spray the pre-emergent, and just to do the, whatever regular stuff is, I don't know what that is, but, so that we have something in front of us so that we can make a decision, or at least budget for it for the combined courts, because our proposed budget is due on October 15th, and if it's something else we need to put in there as far as capital, then we need to have a number. Obviously, we won't approve the budget until, I believe, December 10th, but the proposed budget has to be out by the 15th of October.
All right, yeah, I'll get
So
with him.
make sure that that's on your list, because that, again, was brought to our attention last week.
Okay. We've just been mowing it currently.
Not a lot there to mow,
Well, it gets tall. But,
okay?
all right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
well, don't take off until we get done with Justin.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dustin. Mr. McLean, IT.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Busy for IT. We're in the process of finishing up 2 computer refreshes, one for self-services, one for the health department. That was 30 computers. So I think they're on the last one today. We have to go over and run wiring over there at Annex 1 for the door and the offices. And we're replacing all 72 cameras at the sheriff's office. So we have to run all new wire over there, so that'll probably keep us busy for about 4 months or more. And same problem that he was just talking about with the sheriff's office, just the age of certain things are starting to cause problems, and it's looking like we may have to replace a lot more intercoms than I did. I replaced 6 and fixed those, but we may have to replace, there's almost 70 intercoms in that building, so they're starting to get old. And they're at $100 a pop, that starts to
So
add up.
again, for a capital
Yeah,
items, just like,
I'm working on that, and I'm working with the sheriff to decide how that's gonna be handled, so I'll know an answer to that before the 15th, so. Other than that, for IT, that's it. I do wanna give you an update on the broadband, because that's kinda what I've been putting most of my focus on. Monday, this next Monday, we have a meeting. Phil Weiser, the state attorney general's coming down, and we're gonna have a roundtable discussion with him about the broadband, and the serious misunderstanding, and in my opinion, it would be, I don't know, CDOT's not been truthful, is the bottom line. And we've recorded all our meetings where we had CDOT on there and we had the state on there, and CDOT said one thing and then they turn right around and they're doing quite the opposite. We got our grant application in for the Region 9 broadband effort, and CDOT put in for the same grant, and they said that wasn't going to happen. So we're trying to get some clarification on that. What I can tell you, though, is we got some really good kudos from the state on the last meeting on Friday. They said that everybody in the state could take a lesson in how to work together for a common goal on a project the way Region 9 did. So that the broadband office was extremely pleased with our application, and they seem to feel pretty confident in it. So we'll see what happens. So that's it.
Very good. And then isn't there another meeting on Thursday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we finished up the application, so the next round of stuff is going to be start to talk about. In fact, I'm going to be inviting Ian in on that too, but it's going to be to talk about the IGAs that have to be composed for the region and how we're going to handle this fiber. And there's a lot of work left to do on that side of it. So that's kind of where we're at, and we're forming a technical community too as well.
Okay.
That's all I have. Any questions? Very good, thank you.
All right. Just stay on those capital items,
I will,
because
I will,
we definitely have to
I know.
have those in there.
I have to figure out how many are actually bad, but yes.
Okay.
you know.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Roth, GIS. Come on down.
So I guess the big news is that we have Nolan. NOTAS started last Monday, so excited to have him on board. Lot of stuff to learn, a lot of stuff to go over. I'm trying to meter it out to him so we don't get him too overwhelmed all at once. But yeah, that's pretty exciting to have Nolan on board. Nolan, you want to introduce yourself at all?
Hello, my name is Nolan. Come from background of GIS. Graduated from Fort Lewis College. Originally, I'm from Arizona, but I've been living in Durango for quite a number of years. I worked with, as a surveyor mainly, with the Public Lands Office in Durango, and also I was a GIS technician with the BLM. So I come, mainly I'm surveyor, but I've been wanting to come back to GIS, so here I am now. Thank you for having me on board.
All right, thank you, welcome.
So we don't have a lot of big things going on. We did Nolan's first morning of his first day, we did take a tour around and went down to the landfill and introduced him to Mel and Rachel. We did pick up their GPS unit down there. What we do is we take the engineers' points for designing their new composting facility. We load it in that unit, and they can go back, and then they can grade everything out with their equipment, get it close, and then have a surveyor come out and do the final checks on that. So that's getting that GPS unit configured there. Took him out to meet Justin at the fairgrounds, Rob and out at Road, and Mercedes doing the driveway permits, and then over to Bonnie. Bonnie obviously uses a lot of GIS and GPS technology, so hoping to work with her. Additionally, with Nolan's background, he has some background with weed surveying on the Navajo Reservation as well. So it's just nice to take him around to the county facilities and see a lot of our nicely well-functioning departments out there. It's really, that's the impression that I have. We are gonna be out installing a new red road sign. A lot of those 35-acre tracts that are, what was the Lost Canyon Ranch, are selling up there off of Road 36.5. And a lot of people moving in there, some seasonally and some looking to stay permanently up there. And they're quite long roads, so we had to assign a couple of red roads up there for emergency access, to access all those 35-acre tracts. So we're gonna be going up and doing that. And then Don briefed you on the road why. We did send out those notices late last week, and we made sure to send those directly to the monument manager, any affected oil and gas companies, as well as the landowners, affected landowners in that area, so they have all been sent letters noticing.
Good.
I guess that's about all I have.
Question?
No.
No, I don't have anything.
Good to have you aboard, Nolan.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All right.
All right, thanks, guys.
Gosh, you're gonna make it easy on us today.
No?
Nothing hard. I like it.
I'll give more thought for next time.
All right.
Yeah, all right.
Thanks, guys, and welcome aboard,
Appreciate it.
Nolan. Okay, we're gonna move into unfinished business. Justin with the fairgrounds, come on down. We're gonna talk a little bit more about the suppression system as it relates to Montezuma Water Company. Any news? Any good news?
Nothing new,
Nothing new.
just where we are, basically, whether or not we want to move forward with paying that full amount out of CTF, or whether there's another possible scenario that you guys have thought of to pay a membership fee out of something else, so.
Well,
Looking at those cost breakdowns, is there any way we can put that in?
So I did think about that a little bit too. We could probably do the digging part of it. Obviously, we'd probably need a little help from maintenance if Dustin's willing to help. I do know that we do have to supply the gravel and compaction already with this. So for us to go in there and maybe dig the trench and cover that up, we could alleviate a little bit of that cost. You know, we would still have to get them to obviously put the pipe together and do that part of it.
we can put the pipe together. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Super simple. I guess going back to talking about this, and I've talked to a fire marshal, you know, my biggest concern is still a restriction on that flow, because a meter is gonna add a restriction, a strainer is gonna add a restriction, and it's just like a fire hydrant. So, I'll get with you later today.
Okay.
And maybe we'll have a conversation with Steve. I just struggle with that, and he's looking up the N.F.P.A. code for suppression systems, because I don't think you can actually have a meter in line that is going to a suppression system. Does
Gotcha.
that make sense?
Yeah, it kind of does.
Because that's very untypical. It's not typical at all, because it's not for consumption, and they don't want any restrictions at all. However minute it might be, it's still a restriction, because now you have a strainer and a meter.
Yes, and that was some of the cause for Cooper's concern if we put that meter on the inside of that building.
Because of flow.
Yeah, was because of flow, but I don't know I mean, we were just going off of Montezuma Water Company's numbers of what they said they could supply us to the building, when we went off of his
I
hydraulic
understand
flows
that,
before.
but now looking at this estimate, I have even more concerns because now they're adding a strainer and a meter. So I think, you know, eventually we're gonna get the line in there here in the next 30 days. We'll obviously make a decision because the suppression system is getting resolved. But if it doesn't function adequately because they're insistent on this meter, then we've got a problem again. And we really can't have a meter in there. So I'll get with you.
Okay.
We'll call. We'll have a conversation with Cooper, and then we'll have a conversation with Montezuma Water Company
Okay, we can do that.
to address that. And then we can put together the costs ourselves of what we think it'll cost to put the line in ourselves. Okay? And then we go back to the fees as far as the membership.
Yeah.
And that's just a matter of if we're gonna use CTF and just pay it. I still struggle with it because it's paying for a fire hydrant and it's not a consumption line. So I think if we put this, I don't think we're ready to make a decision yet, guys. I think we need another week. And just add it under unfinished business. At least give me time to get with the fire marshal to see what we have to have as far as NFPA compliant.
Okay.
Are you good with that?
Yeah, I think if you put that meter in there, it's gonna create a restriction on that line.
And then we won't actually get what they said we're gonna get.
Yeah.
Because the hydraulics that they used, or the water flow, probably didn't have a restriction in it.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yep. Okay.
So those are the questions that came up after I was looking at the quote. So we'll, like I said, I'll get with you and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Obviously, we have to have the 6-inch line
Yeah,
eventually.
yes, it has to be a 6-inch line, yep.
So we'll just add this for next week also, and that'll give us time to take care of and check on that.
Okay, and then just
Okay.
to kind of give you guys a little close-up of what's going on, I did reach out to Cooper, and they're gonna send their plans over to state to get that approved. And as soon as they get that approved, then he'll work with me as far as getting a date to go out there and
Okay, good,
get that put in, so,
good deal.
yeah, all right.
All right. Where do we stand with the architect, right? As far as the bathroom?
Yep, I've been reaching out to try to reach out to her, and then we do have to amend our budget for our CTF funds to pay that. And that's what I was told, and I was gonna get a hold of Phaedra and kinda get some numbers together.
Okay.
And then that way, if we gotta amend that budget first to pay for that, then I'll come with, hopefully next week, I'll have all that ready.
Okay,
And if you guys gotta amend that budget, then maybe we can include some of this too, if we need to.
absolutely. Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
All right. We'll just add that back next week then.
all right.
Okay, next on our agenda, we have a letter of support for the city of Cortez for reconnecting communities pilot planning. And we do have that in front of us. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Scott Baker. I'm the City Grants Administrator. Excuse my voice. I'm afraid I'm coming down with something. I'm here today to ask your support for a grant that the city is submitting to the Department of Transportation. Yeah, thank you. The grant that we're submitting to the U.S. Department of Transportation for a Reconnecting Communities grant. At the core of the grant is addressing the highway intersections of 160 and 491 as they kind of run through the middle of town. And what we're applying for is a planning grant to explore improvements, alternatives, other things that can maybe help downtown revitalize. So one of the things we needed to show were certain disparities that were occurring within town due to those highways. We know that there are some movement obstacles for people in town. We know that the downtown needs some boosting and some adrenaline boosted into it. So we're hoping that this planning grant with a significant public engagement piece of it will help us come up with some potential solutions that maybe the public can get behind. That's the intention.
Very good. Any other questions?
No, I've seen this come across, and we discussed this 2 weeks ago with some of the city officials. And
Oh, good.
so I would so move that we sign the supplemental, or the letter of support for the cities of Cortez Reconnecting Committee's pilot planning project.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to sign a letter of support for the city of Cortez and Reconnecting Communities pilot discretionary grant application. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I don't know what you do with that intersection at the West Y, but it's gonna kill somebody here soon.
I agree. I think that's our hope, is that by getting some fresh vision on it, we can discover something creative.
I've personally witnessed people running red lights in both directions. Man.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Okay. We have an executive session scheduled next. Do you want to do our reports first, or you have it? Okay, we'll go with it.
However you
Yeah.
wanna do it.
No, let's go
Well,
ahead.
that's,
We'll go right down the agenda.
We've got that supplemental letter for Alkali Canyon.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Sorry, I skipped that. We also, our grant writers put together this supplemental letter to send to CCI to Eric Bergman. And this is in request for the additional funding that we need for the Alkali Creek Bridge. When we put this out to add originally, we had two bidders. We had Cci and Ralph Wadsworth. They both came in over budget. We did not award anything, and so what we're doing with this is to ask for the additional funding for this year for that structure. So with that, the application is ready to be sent in, and Rob is prepared with our engineer, Bechtel Engineering, to do a presentation via Zoom or in person if we need to, back in Denver at CCI and CDOT. And that's kind of a brief synopsis of it.
Yeah.
I move we sign this supplemental funding request, BRO C320-004.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to sign a supplemental funding request, BRO C320-004, and being sent to Eric Bergman at Colorado Counties Incorporated. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now I didn't miss anything. Now we can go to the executive session.
I would so move we go into executive session for a conference with the attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal question under CRS Section 24-6-402, parentheses 4, parentheses B.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we move into executive session for a conference with the attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under CRS Section 24-6-402, parentheses 4, parentheses B. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And so in the executive session,
Oh, I am so sorry. In the executive session will be our county clerk, Kim Purcell, Commissioners Copenhaver, Candelaria, Lindsay, Attorney McLaren, Administrator Anderson,
That's it.
and that's it.
And the purpose of the executive session is legal advice related to the Ironwood Mill litigation that's ongoing.
Okay.
We up?
We are on, but this other screen is non-functional, so. But you're live, so.
All right. I move we come out of executive session, excuse me.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to come out of executive session and finish our regular Board of County Commission meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Ian, our attorney's report.
So, pretty busy week last week. Worked quite a bit on that resolution for the Mancus gravel pit, getting that all put together. That took some time, so I think that was a good thing to get done. You know, we've got several civil cases that are moving forward. Some are in the discovery process, and so there's been a lot of work with that, just putting together documents and getting that stuff to insurance and such. Yeah, other than that, no big updates on the civil front. Those are just moving through the system, and so that's where I'm at.
All right, thank you. I don't think James really had anything today. So Travis walked out. I'll start Commissioner's report. Kent.
Yes, last Friday, I was able to sit in on the tail end of a CCI meeting about prioritizing legislation for the upcoming agenda. Also, I'll go to City Council tonight, and to keep it short, I want to congratulate the Paloux family. We have a state champion golfer and a chief justice in the family, so congratulations to the Paloux family. That's all I have.
Very good. Commissioner Copenhaver.
I don't have much to report this week. We are progressing with our groundhog project as far as putting in the guard gates up there and stuff. They're getting the concrete all poured for the structure and stuff, and that's progressing along. Even with all the rains and stuff we've had up there and stuff, we're still progressing along, and they're pretty much on schedule with it. That's about all I got to report this week.
All right, very good. Well, my day after Tuesday started Wednesday. I was supposed to be at a 10-year celebration for STAC Social, which is the State Transportation Advisory Committee. My flight was delayed 6 hours, so I did not get out of here until late, and even later in Denver. It was about 9:30 before I got to a motel room in Denver, so I missed that meeting. However, I did get to the STAC committee meeting Thursday. Vince Rogalski and I want to say her name was Rebecca Sloop, both stayed our chair and vice chair of the STAC. Nothing changed there. We did go over some HUTF funding distribution and the formulas that was presented by the Chief Financial Officer, Jeff Schudemeyer. Had a update on the Bridge and Tunnel Enterprise, and then we went over the Colorado Transportation Investment Office program overview and information regarding any of that. Jamie Grimm and Andy Carson went over a legislative report. All of those you guys can also find in the email updates that are sent out, or you can go to the STAC. To the state transportation website and look those up too. Friday then I went into the Cci Legislative Committee. We went through all 9 committees, from agriculture, general government, justice and public safety, land use and natural resources, public lands, taxation and finance, transportation, tourism, resort and economic development, and human services. We did pick 5 priorities. We had up to 8. One in general government was to update the CORA to protect all attorney-client privileges, communications. This came in from Larimer County. One from El Paso County was the Equal Pay Act exemption. No policy changes in that one. We decided to support La Plata County with their treatment of closed county landfills. That's been brought to our attention before, and we've actually signed a letter of support to help them with that in that land use and natural resources. We also decided to support Park County with their maintenance of county roads, accessing state parks. This is another one of those bills that they're looking at that will, there are a lot of roads that go across counties that then access state parks, but the state parks are not funding anything for the maintenance of the roads. So that's something that they'll move forward to the, to see if we can find somebody to run that. We didn't have any workshop yesterday because it was a holiday. However, Dolores did have their town hall meeting. They do work. So I was able to give an update on Ironwood. And I did communicate with our attorney to make sure that I didn't say anything that I wasn't supposed to say. But I did send them the complaint that was filed on September 26th so that they all had that, and it's pretty well laid out in there of all of the issues that we're having with Ironwood. They discussed, they did their presentation for their draft budget so they can have it presented by October 15th. That was probably the biggest and longest part of their meeting. They are looking at moving forward with purchasing 601 Central Avenue, the old Mountain Gravel building, and that will be for their new town hall. I did caution them on of course this was after they had already made the motion to approve purchasing a paint machine to make sure that their painter didn't sneeze while going down the road and end up like we had on County Road 29 from 160 to County Road M. Informed them of our farm bill listening session. And something that was, I had to give the gal there, and I'm sure it's all due to insurance and how their rates are adjusted, but I told them that we ended up with 10.5 and then 8.5 increase on our health insurance, and they were under 5% on their health insurance. I told them they did really, really well. And I've got a couple other things here too. I have a DocuSign, Ian, that came to me. I didn't even open it because I didn't want to expire it, but I'm sure it's expired. But I also got an email from the sheriff saying that it was part of that courts grant that's already been presented to us. But I can refresh that today, and then we can sign that if we need a positive motion on that to move that forward. But that's what that DocuSign is, and I can open it right now. But it is for the Montezuma County. Oh, actually, this one is for public health. So it's going to be expired. They come to me, but now that we're doing them on Tuesdays, I'll have to send this back. I don't even know if I can review the documents.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, or I'm not sure.
Okay. So I'll try to get with you on that, but then we'll have to get it refreshed and renewed. Also had a proclamation sent to me by the Catholic Daughters. I did send that on to you gentlemen. And that's just a proclamation for the Catholic Daughters and the efforts that they have. I did also send that to Ian, and it's basically whether we want to sign the proclamation. I think it just asks for one signature and then to be read Sunday, this coming Sunday. I don't have an issue reading it this coming Sunday, but...
And so, Commissioner, I did send you guys an email back on that. My recommendation would be to not sign that because, I mean, it is the nominational. When you start to sign a proclamation for one religious denomination, then you run the risk of having other folks come in and bring proclamations, and it's difficult to start to differentiate. I think it's I think it's one thing to sign a proclamation for a day of prayer or something non-denominational like our governor did. I think that when you start to sign specific denominational documents, I think that you start to run the risk of having problems down the road if other denominations come in and they want a proclamation, and maybe it's just not something that you want to sign.
So my question to that is, do we have any issues with any denomination of signing a proclamation for? Because I can tell you, as far as religious beliefs, from the religions that are out there, I don't think I have one at all. I mean, I'm asking a question,
I mean, I can think of certain religious denominations that are out there that if they brought something forward, you guys might not want to sign. I mean.
Gotcha, but we still have that flexibility. We don't have to sign every one or not, right?
Well, no, but if you start to sign for one religious denomination, and then another one comes in, and then you don't sign, then that's where you start to run into issues where you're treating one religious denomination one way and another way. I think it's smarter to just stay away from that stuff altogether.
Okay. All right.
I hear where he's coming from, but I'd support that resolution, or that proclamation. I understand exactly where he's coming from.
And I do too. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I understand. I really do. However, I think of the denominations that are out there, and I don't, obviously I can't, there are some that are probably maybe way out in the right field or left field, but I specifically don't have anything against this proclamation at all.
I don't either.
So, and I think it just asks for one signature, and I am more than happy to sign that one if you gentlemen do not want to sign it. But here again, it's a decision of 3.
I personally move that you sign it.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that I sign the Catholic Daughters Proclamation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And then we've already talked about Ironwood, so that will conclude my report also. Okay. James, I see you walked in the room.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
So just wanted to start the report off with, and I think the commissioners are all aware of this already, but Connie Clemenston from the BLM has retired. I do not know who the replacement will be at this point. I think that Joe Manning has probably been assigned that role for at least the interim, and he may wind up being the final selection for that. So I've been trying to get a hold of BLM to figure out who the next chain of command is going to be. I haven't had no response from them yet on that, so presumably they're still trying to figure it out also. But we'll bring forward information as it becomes available. Also wanted to let the commissioners know I did attend the RMRI field trip last week, and we went and visited a couple places here in Montezuma County. The first one was the Red Earth Ranch up around Chicken Creek. And they're doing some really good work up there. We met with the landowner there. One of the issues that we discussed was about really trying to reintroduce fire as a prescribed fire or natural fire as part of the natural regime out there on that landscape. And I think, we all understand that that's a fire-adapted landscape. All the ponderosa really is a fire-adapted species, requires fire to regenerate and everything. I think the difficulty that we're all struggling with is how we interface with the mechanical treatment along with the fire, and doing that within the WUI, which is really difficult. When it's further up into the forest, everybody gets it. The fire can be a very useful tool, but down in the WUI, that's a little more difficult. Now, they have been able to talk to the Red Earth Ranch owners, and they feel like they can safely do some prescribed burning up there on the heels of doing the mechanical treatment. between the two, I think we're gonna get a better result, than if you just do the mechanical treatment and then, you know, for example, you know, burn slash piles and things of that nature. So that is part of the discussion, and, you know, again, anything that's along the edges of that forest boundary, I think is, you know, understand the role of fire in the natural order of things, but it just gets a lot more dicey through there. We also went and visited an area up there at Summit Reservoir, where the BLM has been doing some work along the edges of the WUI. They've actually been doing a little bit of burning in there too, and have been able to safely do it. But again, and then one of the issues that we've got is that, you know, the whole nation, when they implement a nationwide ban on burning, they really kind of shoot themselves in the foot, because we could have easily accomplished some good burning through the summer up here, you know, given the monsoon season and everything. And it appears that, you know, one of the components that we're really trying to control is the understory growth of that oak shrub. And what we learned through that field trip is really the fire is the most effective at actually controlling that understory, and actually doing it during the right season is most effective too, which is really kind of the summer dry months. And again, you know, that trying to get the fire going when you need it and to be able to do it safely is the trick. So that'll be just something that we'll have to kind of continue to work on, and that whole process will evolve. We had about 30 people that attended that meeting, and we had some high-level folks from Colorado State Forest as well as the Department of Natural Resources. So I think they got a pretty good understanding of what we're facing down here. Got to see it firsthand, and you know, there's several pots of money out there that we're still trying to pursue to see if we can't get some more work done, especially on the private side, because that is where it's really most difficult to get everything to align well. Also attended the BLM Gunnison Sage Grouse meeting, and that one's kind of moving along about like we expected. I do have a little bit of concern. There's been a push within that group to expand the area that they're gonna analyze from the unoccupied area. They're planning to do a 4-mile buffer around all of that. Well, as you can imagine, that expands that whole area quite a bit. So for Montezuma County, you know, where the rubber hits the road on that is the northern part of the county. We do have unoccupied habitat up there, and when they add that 4-mile buffer, well, that gets it down about halfway to Cortez. So that's a considerable expansion of the analysis area. The other thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is that they're analyzing some ACECs. And so they've got 3 potential ACECs, 1 that's been designated, and they have 3 proposed. Mostly these ACECs are going to be up in Dolores County, San Miguel County, the more northern areas. However, the last one that I've got some concern about is that they're proposing to designate all occupied and unoccupied habitat as a ACEC, and that would encompass roughly 623,000 acres. Well, that's a fair amount of acreage to begin with, but you know, northern part of the county, we do have a fair amount of unoccupied habitat that they have mapped up there, and that would presumably be some of the area that they would consider an ACEC in, and that's, you know, pretty significant amount of the northern portion of this county. So that would be something we want to coordinate very closely with them on, and just see how this one develops. And as you can imagine, you know, within our BLM here, they're saying, you know, because it's written into that resource management plan that they're going to reintroduce sage grouse out there in N.M.P.M. The N.M.P.M manager has told me that the BLM in that particular area is opposed to that. They don't feel like they have suitable habitat. And again, I've said this before, I don't think we have suitable habitat in most of the northern portion of this county. Nevertheless, there's certainly a push to include more and more ground as habitat. They've got concerns about the connectivity between isolated populations, and you know, of course, we don't know for sure if there was any connectivity ever. And you know, gosh, it was, you know, 15 years ago, they finally decided that the Gunnison sage grouse was a subspecies of the greater sage grouse. So I don't know. Historically, they say there's sage grouse everywhere, but we really don't know which one it was. The greater sage grouse was the Gunnisons. So all these things kind of get pretty complicated, and anyway, it concerns me when they start looking for more and more and more ground to put protections on. And we'll just stay on top of that, and I'll try to keep bringing commissioners information as that unfolds. We also held the kickoff meeting for the affordable housing grant with Ayers Consulting. So right now we're getting a work plan together for that, for the public outreach and all the collaboration portion of that. I'm sending the background plans, the land use code, as well as the comprehensive plan to Ayers Consulting, and making sure that they've got the connections with all of our municipalities, because I think in a lot of ways, for the affordable housing anyway, within that first 1 mile zone of influence, to me, that's really kind of the name of the game in there. If we get much out there past that first mile, affordable housing is just not that affordable for some of the things that we're talking about. Now, there is a segment of the population that still fits, and I would call that more attainable housing than affordable. But anyway, as this thing kind of unfolds, I think the name of the game is really to work closely with our municipalities on this. So I also attended the Mancos Source Watershed Protection Plan meetings. So one of the things that they're concerned about is the development up the Mancos River between the town and the forest. And really, we haven't got a lot of development pressure up in there. Of course, we've got the water situation up there, which is one of the reasons why we probably don't have a lot of development pressure. But that's one of the things that's on their mind. The other thing was the septic systems. And again, I assured the group that we've got engineered septic systems. There is not that heavy level of density up there as it is. It's really hard to believe that any of the septic systems that exist are really that big of a problem. But again, they're an engineered system, and as the septic system fails, it has to be re-engineered. And this, I'm just trying to assure them that this is not really a super high priority issue. They're also worried about ag operations, and again, that's another one where it's really difficult to see that this is a really high priority issue. While there is ag up there, most of it is, just grass, hay. And we don't see a whole lot of fertilization and things like that on some of those fields. So, what they're really getting at is a fertilizer runoff. And that just does not seem to be a real high priority up in the Mancos. In fact, the whole Mancos watershed, in a lot of ways, when we really look at it, that's one of the more protected watersheds probably we have in the whole state. The big issue I think that they might have to consider up there is locatable minerals, which we really haven't got anything going on up there right now. I mean, we couldn't preclude that. However, the minerals seem to be one of the things that was like their least concern. So anyway, that'll be something that will unfold. I am aware that we have some exploring going on up there at this time, and if they find something and come forward with a development proposal, then we'll have to address that at that time. Then the last thing is I just visited with Dustin this morning regarding the plans for the courthouse. I've got 3 different concepts drawn up. I've gone over those with Dustin, and we'll take those out to some landscaping firms and just see if we can get some good estimates coming back on that. I did quite a bit of estimating back. That's been a couple of years ago now. And of course, with inflation and everything, I would venture a guess that we probably add 50% to all those estimates. So I really feel like getting it out to a landscaping company, somebody that's actually looking at doing the work to get a more current cost estimate is probably the way to go on all that. And I'll just continue to work with Dustin on that and see if we can't get some numbers to the commissioners. Other than that, I think that concludes my report, unless we have anything else to discuss this morning from the commissioners.
No, it doesn't. Real quick, James, I was going to bring it up in my report, but being that you're here, kind of let the commissioners know about your outdoor grant and how we were one of 10 to receive that grant. And
right,
because obviously I got phone calls from the governor's office this week, so I was pretty proud of what you guys did. So maybe fill them in on the backstory.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. So as commissioners know, we did apply for the outdoor recreation grant. We were successful in getting that grant. And so at this point, and I've got an RFP that's been put together, so that'll be the next step, is to get that out the door. And I would like to, of course, run that RFP past our legal counsel before we send it out the door. Mainly because anytime there's some federal dollars associated with it, we make sure we follow their process appropriately. So, but yes, we're successful at that, and hopefully we'll be able to get a contractor on in short order here and start making some progress on that plan. And, as Travis mentioned, it was one of 10 in the state, and I think we got some pretty good recognition out of that. And sorry for getting you flat-footed on that call from the governor there. But anyway, hopefully they've got the information that they need now.
It's all good.
So I guess
Okay.
that concludes my report. And if
All
there's
right.
anything else from the commissioners?
Appreciate it.
No, I think, we've wrestled with that landscaping at the combined courts for a long time now, and there's another thing that we just gotta figure out what we wanna do and plan it and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a large area, it's gonna be expensive, it's difficult, but we'll try to find the best course forward on that.
Okay,
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
sounds good. Thank you, James. Okay, Travis.
So James was able to address a couple of issues on my report. Obviously, participated in the meeting with Ayers Consulting, was able to talk to the governor's office, they called, and I wasn't quite sure why they was calling the county administrator, so that was kind of interesting. But it was over the outdoor grant. We was one of 10 to receive that, and James appraised you gentlemen of that. Monday morning, I spent most of the morning with Road and Bridge learning about their job tasks and was able to meet the employees out there. Most of my time after the meeting was spent with Shane, so talking about fleet system, or the fleet and so on and so forth. The last thing I'd have, obviously our system is down, so I'll have to read it off paper and then present it to you gentlemen, is during the transition there was the July payables was not submitted, so I just need to go over those with you. So for the July payables, it was for the general fund, $1,228,445.21. Road and Bridge Fund total, $1,092,845.60. Public Health Fund, $246,656.23. Capital Fund total, $28,141.89. Administration Fund total, $32,435.45. Landfill Fund was $142,294.44. Check register total was $2,770,818.82. Social services total was $1,499,669.07, with a grand total of $4,270,487.89.
I move we authorize the July payables expenditures in the amount of $4,270,487.89.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to submit the July payables in the amount of $4,270,487.89 for Montezuma County. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That's it?
Yes, sir, that is it.
All right. Well, with that, gentlemen, we have come to the end of our meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn the BOCC meeting for October 11th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can I help you with something, sir?